accompanying Sam as he built his career from nothing for 5 years. He finally became a respected boss in North City, but the wedding he promised me never arrived. Instead, what arrived was his white moonlight, who suddenly returned to the country. She asked who I was, and Sam smiled. A canary I got tired of playing with. I walked away without hesitation, blocking all his contact information. But later, when the plane leaving the country was about to take off, he forcibly sent people to stop me. On the tarmac, his voice choked. "Victoria, do you not want me anymore?" Chapter 1. They say that accompanying a man as he grows up is the stupidest thing a woman can do, because everything you teach him eventually becomes the bridal gown of his next sweetheart. I never believed that, because during the 5 years I accompanied Sam from nothing, I genuinely felt his love for me grow day by day, until today, 5 years later, when his company went public, and he invited a bunch of partners and investors to our home for a gathering. The cigarette between his fingers flickered. Amid the clinking of glasses, a woman suddenly looked toward me. "Busy in the kitchen." "Sam, who is she?" My hands paused mid-wash, my ear tilting slightly without thinking, but the answer I expected never came from his mouth. Sam gave a contemptuous smile, leaned forward, and extinguished the finished cigarette. "A canary I'm tired of. Any of you like her? Want to have a turn?" Everyone glanced at each other, then burst into loud laughter. "Oh, come on, Sam, you're joking. Who among us would dare look at your woman?" "Sam really knows how to joke. Cheers." At that moment, I felt something inside me shatter, along with the plate that slipped from my hand. A crisp crack rang out instantly. The crowd fell silent for a moment, but then resumed drinking as if nothing had happened. Only the woman, the same one who had asked Sam who I was, spoke impatiently. "If you don't want to work, then get out. Don't ruin everyone's mood." I froze for a moment and stopped bending down to pick up the shattered pieces. Chapter 2. I knew that woman. Her name was Lily. I once saw her on Sam's phone lock screen. That was during the early days of Sam's startup. When I was his secretary, I heard that the woman on his lock screen was his white moonlight, the one he loved but could not have. Separated by distance, but I never cared, because after Sam confessed to me, his phone lock screen, his chat backgrounds, even the pattern on his phone case, all changed to my photos. Sam, 5 years ago, had eyes bright like burning stars. He pointed to the Riverview penthouse across from the company and spoke softly. "Victoria, that will be our home one day. I'll hang it full of your photos, our photos. The biggest one will be our wedding photo. Life is long. Who doesn't have a past?" But today I realized I was wrong, terribly wrong. When men are full of ambition, they tend to develop a hero complex. Their passion might end up touching only themselves, but the woman who hears their words will take them as promises that must be fulfilled. Yes, he can now afford many Riverview penthouses, but they no longer mean anything to me, because from this moment on, I never want to appear in his world again. Our love had already turned to ash with the cigarette between his fingers the moment he uttered the words "a canary." Chapter 3. Sam came home from work, but didn't see the table of steaming hot dishes I usually prepared. Ever since his company got on track, I stepped back from my career and devoted myself to managing our home, willingly cooking and caring for him, and he would always give me surprises at the right moments. Expensive handbags, 99 red roses. Today was no exception, except that on the big bouquet of slightly wilted red roses, there were 2 name tags. I quietly lifted the one with my name on it. Underneath, another tag clearly read, "Lily." How wonderful. 1 bouquet for 2 women, purchased to bring joy to both. But Sam forgot, the first time he bought me flowers was when he was at his poorest. For that bouquet of roses, he secretly ate instant noodles for an entire week without telling me. Yet now, with all his wealth, he can't even bother to buy a second bouquet of fresh roses to lie to me properly. I picked up that huge bouquet and slammed it into the trash can. "Victoria, what the hell is wrong with you today?" Sam's voice burst behind me, his face full of confusion. "You not cooking is fine. I figured you were in a bad mood because of your period. I even hired a housekeeper to come cook. But what's with you throwing the flowers? What kind of scene are you making?" I laughed in anger. "Sam, my period isn't today." No wonder he came home so on time today. Usually he claimed he had meetings or ate outside. Sometimes he came back with the scent of a woman's perfume clinging to him, but I never thought too much about it. After all, I too had been to social dinners. Inevitably, the hostesses would brush past and leave a scent behind. But today, I suddenly understood. He remembered Lily's period, and the perfume probably wasn't from any hostess. Because hostesses usually don't wear cold woody scents, those don't attract customers at all. He stayed silent for a long time after hearing that. Finally, with a frown, he dismissed me impatiently. All right. I remembered wrong. Sam, let's break up. Chapter 4. How long are you going to keep acting crazy? Sam suddenly shouted at me. The anger on his face was unfamiliar. I had only seen him that furious when he was scolding subordinates. If you want to make a scene, go ahead. I don't have time to pamper you. I really don't understand how you. Before he could finish, Sam's phone rang. Hello? Sam, my stomach hurts so much. I drank the brown sugar water you made, but it's not working. Sam fumbled to turn off the speakerphone. All right, I got it. Wait for me. After he hung up and looked back at me, his eyes carried a hint of guilt. That's it for now. You calm down. I'll go out to clear my head too. Heh. Sam, how intimate. I remember I once called him that too, but he rejected it very seriously. He said he didn't like the way it sounded. Turns out it wasn't that it sounded bad. It was a special title reserved only for the white moonlight he loved the most. I wasn't allowed to use it. I wasn't qualified. With a heavy bang, Sam slammed the front door, and with the door, the heart he once opened to me slammed shut too. Expressionless, I walked into the bedroom and pulled out the suitcase I had packed long ago. Actually, I did hesitate, for example, this afternoon, when I saw that large walnut-wood photo frame in the corner of the room. A year ago, Sam had a master craftsman custom make that frame. It was expensive and heavy. He said it would be used to frame our wedding photo in the future, that he would hang it above our bed, so he could look at it every night before sleeping. But now, seeing it again, I could only laugh mockingly. It's fine. He can use it to frame his wedding photo with Lily, perhaps. Chapter 5. There were no suitable flights to Australia in the next 2 days, so I had no choice but to stay temporarily at my best friend Amelia's place. I didn't know what I was expecting, but my phone remained completely silent. Only China Telecom sent the occasional vibration, and a colleague from the company, Marco. When Marco called, it was midnight, and I was still memorizing vocabulary. Victoria, are you there? Come to the hospital. Sam drank alcohol. Oh, I responded flatly. On the other end, Marco reacted as if he'd heard something unbelievable. His tone shifted, carrying a hint of irritation. Come on, Victoria. You know Sam is allergic to alcohol. He can't drink at all. But he had a meeting with Oliver tonight. Oliver, you know him, right? That super difficult client. Heh, a cold laugh rose in my heart. How could I not know? I knew all too well, because back when Sam first started his business, his very first deal was with Oliver, and the one who drank for him back then was me. I knew he was allergic to alcohol, knew he couldn't touch even a drop, but he desperately wanted that deal. And Oliver was ridiculously difficult, without a meal, without drinks. That deal was impossible, so I gritted my teeth and volunteered to drink on his behalf. I remember that day clearly. It's the most alcohol I've ever consumed in my entire life. I drank until I threw up again and again. The burning of alcohol lingered in my chest, scorching and unending, just like the passionate and self-sacrificing love I once felt for him. My stomach problems came from drinking for him over and over again. He once cried and swore that once he made enough money, he'd take me to see the best doctors and buy the most expensive medication. Are you done talking? Even as Marco rambled on, describing how Sam was drinking during the business dinner, my expression didn't change at all. Wait, Victoria, what's going on with you two? Did you fight? Let Lily take care of him. I'm busy. As soon as I finished speaking, I hung up decisively. Victoria, did you two really break up? Chapter 6. Amelia asked cautiously at the bedroom door. I gave her a bitter smile, nodded, and exhaled deeply. I'm free now. You should be happy for me. Oh, right. But, can I ask why? Is it She hesitated, then finally asked, word by word, Lily? I nodded, saying nothing. Even my best friend, who didn't work at his company, could see it. So this matter was destined to not remain a secret. Amelia pressed her lips together, seeming like she wanted to comfort me. But after hesitating for a long while, she finally couldn't find the right words. She just sighed. If you need anything, call me. Tissues are in the closet. Water is in the kitchen. Amelia thought I would cry like the tragic heroine of a melodramatic idol drama. I thought so too. But I didn't. Even though my chest hurt, every nerve in my limbs felt like the burning pain from drinking too much that night. But still, I couldn't shed a single tear. I couldn't sleep. So I picked up a mirror and looked at my reflection. Sallow complexion, fine wrinkles beginning to form at the corners of my eyes, dry and brittle hair ends. These 5 years, I gave too much. Indeed, compared to the fair-skinned and beautiful Lily, I truly couldn't compete anymore. I shook my head with a cold laugh. These 5 years, I let myself fall apart more and more, all to arrive at such an ending. From now on, I will never allow this again. Chapter 7. The day before my flight to Australia, I went to the company. A lot of my previous work documents and personal items were still at my desk. I needed to get them back. But the moment I stepped into the company, the way everyone looked at me changed. Their eyes were complicated, sympathy, confusion, even disgust. Victoria, what are you doing back here? Lily, with her attention-seeking high ponytail, strode forward from behind me. Hey, don't tell me you came back to look for Sam? You're really heartless. I heard Marco called you and asked you to go to the hospital to check on him. And you refused. If I hadn't personally made chicken soup for Sam and taken it to him, who knows how sad he would have been, lying alone in that hospital room. I glanced at her lightly and lowered my head with a small smile. Sure, I wish you two everlasting love. I had no time to waste on her nonsense, so I bypassed her and walked straight toward my old workstation. But when I arrived, I froze. The desk that had always belonged to me had been taken by someone else. All the decorations and plants I had arranged with care were gone. Replacing them were a pile of ugly dolls and strange little figurines that I disliked at first glance. Whose workstation is this now? Everyone at the company knew that this desk belonged only to me, Victoria. Right across from it was Sam's office. This was the closest seat to him. As his secretary, it made our work communication convenient. Even when Sam needed to come to my desk to pick up documents, he would ask my permission first. But now, someone else sat here. My expression darkened. The colleagues watching silently around us didn't even dare to breathe. After a long silence, Lily finally spoke. It's mine. Why? She clicked her heels and strutted up to me again. This workstation used to be mine. Where did you put my things? My voice rose sharply, and the surrounding colleagues flinched in fright. I've always had a bad temper and little patience, except when facing Sam. But I suddenly realized even that last bit of patience and gentleness had been drained away by his repeated disregard. All I wanted now was to leave. Lily laughed contemptuously after hearing me, her eyes filled with blatant provocation. What? Did you buy this workstation? Why can't I sit here? Let me tell you, Victoria, Sam told me to sit here. I am now the CEO's secretary. And you? You're just a washed-up housewife who only knows how to cook. Slap. Right after Lily finished speaking, a crisp, loud slap exploded in the heavy atmosphere. I didn't even have time to think. My hand moved faster than my mind. The 5 red marks bloomed clearly across Lily's face. You hit me? She stared at me with wide disbelief, raising her hand to slap me back. But Marco rushed over just in time to stop her. Hey. Enough. Everyone's watching. This is the office. She's not my colleague. She's not. At that moment, whispers started spreading around us. I heard Lily is trying to climb her way up, so the rumor about her being the white moonlight must be true. Exactly. Look at how arrogant she is. If Sam didn't spoil her, what would she be? Right? She didn't contribute anything when the company was growing. She just parachuted in out of nowhere. No wonder Victoria is leaving. Lily was furious, but after seeing the mixed expressions of the people around her, she could only lower her hand resentfully. I'll ask one more time. Where did my things go? Thrown away. What did you say? I threw them out. Are you deaf? If you want, go dig through the garbage dump yourself. Lily looked at me with a triumphant smile, as if her plan had succeeded. If you're not convinced, go find Sam, if he doesn't resent you for not caring about him in the hospital. That is. I lowered my head as the muscles around my lips began to twitch uncontrollably. She thought I was about to cry, but instead, I laughed. I laughed so hard that tears nearly came out. It's fine. If they're thrown away, they're thrown away. Lily, the idiot. She proudly thought she just tossed away my beloved desk trinkets and some unimportant personal documents. But she didn't know that inside my resume folder, there was a high-capacity USB drive. Inside were detailed profiles of over 100 major clients I had handled. Detailed enough to know what brand of alcohol they liked. Detailed enough to know what kind of restaurants they preferred. It's fine. Throwing it away is perfect. Let it all be thrown away, along with my past. Chapter 8. After that day, no one from the company called me again. After all, the Victoria who used to work tirelessly, stay up late with everyone, and eat midnight snacks together, had already died. Now it was Lily's turn to rise. I knew that Lily was Sam's senior in university. In those poor, insecure, love-hungry years, the elegant and stunning team leader Lily, coming from a wealthy family, became the unreachable light in the heart of the young Sam. But matching family backgrounds has always been the unspoken rule of the wealthy. Sam's cautious, humble crush and Lily's bold, blazing affection created a stark contrast. And eventually, word reached Lily's parents. Just like in every dramatic TV series, don't ask if you ask. The parents were the ones who tore them apart. Lily went abroad to study, while Sam could only stay in the cold, bustling City A, struggling and building from nothing. And then, it was finally my turn to appear. But I was clearly in the same school as Sam. The same year. I even went out of my way to check the competition rankings from those years. My name was one place ahead of his. See? In life, the order of people's appearance is always absurdly unreasonable. All of this, I learned later from Sam's mentor, Nestor. When he somehow heard that I intended to come to Australia, he specifically emailed me an invitation to join his team. That was how the two of us started talking. After receiving the email, I felt lighter than I had in years, and boarded the plane with a spring in my step. From then on, across the ocean, Sam and I went separate ways, never to meet again. My thoughts drifted above the clouds. I put on some music and slowly fell into a deep sleep. But less than an hour after takeoff, the broadcast suddenly announced an emergency landing. Chapter 9. What's going on? I still have business to attend to. How can you decide to land just like that? What about my $100 million deal? Why don't they tell us the reason for the emergency landing? Is the plane malfunctioning? Shouldn't everything be checked before takeoff? Impossible. Complaints and panic spread throughout the cabin, and the flight attendants scrambled to calm everyone down. But then, one flight attendant suddenly stopped in front of me, bent down, and whispered, "Ma'am, please come with me." She led me straight to the aircraft door. After the plane halted, the door slowly opened. "There are some matters that require your personal attention. Please hurry." "Thank you." Matters? What matters? Could an emergency landing possibly be because of me? I stepped off the plane full of confusion, only to see the last face I wanted to see. It was Sam. "Sam, what the hell are you doing? Did you intercept the plane?" "Yes." "So what?" With the runway lights gradually brightening in the night, anger surged in my chest. "Victoria, I don't blame you for not coming to the hospital to accompany me. We just had an argument. Why did you have to be so ruthless?" My gaze fell on a helicopter not far away. Painted on its side was a heart-shaped white symbol, the one I had drawn myself years ago. It was the first small milestone he achieved. He bought a helicopter. He said that on the day he proposed, he would use this helicopter to scatter rose petals all over City A. The mayor of City A would never allow that. "Stop bragging." "Doesn't matter. If he doesn't allow it, I'll just shower his house with petals first, cover his whole rooftop in roses, ha 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 ha." His hearty laughter back then still seemed to echo in my ears. But now, the helicopter that was supposed to be used for a proposal had become the tool that trapped my freedom. How ironic. "I still think Lily suits you better. Stop pestering me." "No. Victoria, Listen to me. Lily just has a bit of a temper. She's not a bad person. If she did anything to upset you, I'll apologize on her behalf, okay? His eyes shimmered with tears. If it were the old me, I would have melted instantly. I used to say his eyes were beautiful, especially when they glistened with tears, making him look painfully tender. But now, when I thought about how those same eyes had probably looked at Lily like that tens of thousands of times, all I felt was pure disgust. Victoria, do you not want me anymore? Chapter 10. The song playing in my earphones was ironically fitting. Shui Shiqian's just right. Our love ends here just right. Not too much. Not too little. Enough to forget. Honestly, it should have ended right there. No need to keep tangling ourselves together. I walk my Australian coastline. He returns to his daily rounds of social dinners. But now, the memories have already rotted. I lowered my eyes and let out a bitter laugh. What if I say no? Can you leave now? An entire plane of people is waiting while you throw a tantrum here. Have you even thought about that? Then let the whole plane stay grounded until you promise to go back with me. I can afford the delay fees. I don't care. Sam was so furious that his eyes reddened. I closed my eyes and exhaled helplessly. As expected of the famous Sam, wings hardened now. Respected in both political and business circles. Victoria, do you know how awful I felt when I got home after being discharged and saw the house empty? Heh, it wasn't the empty house that bothered him. It was the fact that he couldn't eat my cooking anymore. Couldn't enjoy the housework I used to do. At least, have dinner with me first. There's a private little island nearby. It belongs to a friend of mine. The plane couldn't be delayed any longer, so I had no choice but to agree. I followed Sam onto a helicopter and flew with him to an unknown small island. The scenery was beautiful. The restaurant glowed with warm lights at night. He had even thoughtfully cleared the place out and decorated it with flowers and fairy lights. But I had absolutely no interest in enjoying any romantic dinner. Victoria, look at these dishes. They're all your favorites. I specifically told the chef to. Sam. He froze for a second when he heard me call his name so suddenly. Then he cautiously asked, "What is it? Do you not like the food?" I looked at the table full of exquisite dishes. Yet my expression was bleak. "Do you remember which meal you said was the best meal you've ever had?" He was caught off guard and paused. Then he hesitated thoughtfully. "Was it our 1-year anniversary? When I took you to that French restaurant? Or your birthday last year? When we tried that private Western kitchen?" Hearing this, a mocking smirk tugged at my lips. Sam's life kept getting better. And the food he ate became more and more refined. So refined that he had forgotten the road he came from. 5 years ago, when I came back from running errands, you were fumbling with your phone trying to order takeout. You often worked so much that you forgot to eat. So you had no idea which restaurants were good, you just picked the one with the highest rating. But the takeout that arrived was all in vintage guichow packaging. When I mentioned this, a sudden pain stabbed my chest. Sharp, like a thin needle piercing deep and twisting until it hit raw flesh. I remember asking if you didn't eat properly, and whether you also didn't keep up with the news. Back then, Sam had no concept of meals. As long as something filled his stomach and gave him energy to continue working, it was enough. I patiently explained to him the whole gossip behind the trendy takeout brand. He blushed for a long time. And finally, like a little puppy who did something wrong, he asked if I could forgive him. He'd cook for me instead. But I just smiled and didn't say anything. I happily opened the takeout package, holding that flimsy black spoon, eating bite by bite with him at his messy, cramped workstation. Sam, back then you said it was the best meal you had ever eaten. Because it was with me, even if you ordered the wrong food. It didn't matter. I wasn't like those demanding, temperamental clients. As I finished speaking, I picked up the red wine beside me and drank it in one gulp. Across from me, Sam's eyes turned red. Chapter 11. Yes, many years later, the young and accomplished CEO could already afford French cuisine, Western fine dining, and even customized imperial banquets. He could no longer tell which meal had truly been the best, because every meal was now exquisite, luxurious, and expensive. He forgot the road he came from, but I never did, because that was my road too. Victoria, listen to me. I didn't forget. I was just too busy lately, Anne. Sam, every step I walked with you, you've forgotten. I didn't want to listen to his clumsy excuses. Your love now is like a gift box wrapped only in money, beautiful on the outside, but completely empty inside. Let's end it here. May we both be well. Sam didn't struggle further, not because I was determined to leave, but because Lily called again. He had no choice but to lie that he was on a business trip, then reluctantly sent me off to Australia. Victoria, don't worry, I'll come find you. Just calm down for now. The Australian air carried a faint humidity, slowly blurring my vision, and blurring the silhouette of him walking farther and farther away. It's all over. Don't say things like that anymore. It's all right. You will have a new beginning. A cool and soothing male voice suddenly appeared beside me. Before I could even turn around, a large umbrella blocked my view of the sky. I looked back at the person who came. It was Nestor. I heard someone intercepted your plane and even filed for landing rights on an Australian helipad. So I came to pick you up. He smiled brightly, his eyes clear and untouched by dust. For a moment, I couldn't tell whether I was truly crying or whether it had started raining in Australia. Chapter 12. Later, my best friend Amelia told me that Sam got married to Lily, but I had no time and no mood to be distracted by the past, because I was busy following up on the new project that Nestor had arranged for me. Want to have dinner together tonight? The restaurant downstairs is mine. I'll cook for you. Nestor took off his gray coat and checkered scarf, clumsily draping them over my shoulders. I glanced at the computer screen full of tightly packed data and shook my head gently. You go ahead, boss. I need to work a bit more. Nestor smiled when he heard that. His upturned peach blossom eyes were full of joy. Don't call me boss. You can call me senior. You know, before Nestor became Sam's mentor, he was a graduate student at the same university as us. Maybe I had taken his classes or listened to his lectures, but I was always doing homework or something else during class, so I wasn't familiar with these mentors or students from other majors, and I never asked him when exactly he first got to know me. Nestor treats you so well. We rarely see him around, and now he comes to the company every day. Is it possible he's just looking for me to follow up on the project? I was truly tired of these gossiping romantics in the office. Maybe because the workload in Australia wasn't heavy, and there was little overtime. Everyone had the energy to pay attention to these small details. But indeed, over these days, I had lost count of how many times Nestor had stopped by. Sometimes it was about the project, but sometimes, like now, it was to ask me out for dinner, even though I rejected him almost every time. It never dampened his enthusiasm in the slightest. All right, senior, I still need to work for a while, I replied without stopping my typing, until he said, it's going to snow tonight in Australia. You've never seen snow. Want to go take a look after work? His words fell at the same rhythm as the sound of my keyboard. My gaze finally left the computer screen. I looked up at him, his face glowing with a deep smile, utter disbelief washing over me. You've never seen snow after the college entrance exam. Want to go see it together? This sentence was said to me by my longtime QQ pen pal the night before my college entrance exam. Back then, I was overwhelmed by trivial matters and the pressure from my parents. My unstable emotions affected my mock exam scores again and again. Finally, the night before the college entrance exam, I broke down. I dialed the number of my pen pal, known as Sanju, and cried to him for a full hour. He patiently listened. Even the tone of his comfort wasn't perfunctory at all, and it was because of that sentence, after the exam, let's go see the snow, that I managed to hold myself together until the exam ended. But later, when I happily held my transcript to contact him again, his QQ account had been hacked. I was heartbroken for a long time, searching for him in every possible way, but found nothing. Are you Sanju? I promised to show you the snow, so of course I will. What do you think? Mianshua. Mianshua. That was my QQ nickname back then. Chapter 13. Australia was different from City A. Almost everyone in the entire city got off work at the same time. As night fell, snowflakes began drifting through the air. Crowds gathered in the central square, waiting for this grand celebration of pure white snow. I reached out my hand to catch a crystal-clear snowflake. The gentle night breeze carried it softly into my palm. I stood there looking up at the sky, while Nestor quietly looked at me. How is it? Isn't the snow beautiful? His voice pulled me back from my thoughts. I turned and met the tenderness overflowing from Nestor's eyes. It's beautiful. I nodded. This conversation felt nearly 10 years late, but thankfully, I hadn't forgotten. I hadn't forgotten those difficult days and nights in high school. When someone named Sanjay sent me endless encouragement through a screen, and he hadn't forgotten either. He hadn't forgotten the snow he once promised me. The snowfall grew heavier, white speckles landing across my hair. He gently brushed them away. The snow is beautiful, but you're even more beautiful. The clock struck midnight, and at that moment, he pulled me into his embrace, but I began to cry. Scorching, overwhelming tears fell one after another, scattering through my hair and sinking into his chest, where his heartbeat pounded like a war drum. Chapter 14. When spring arrived in Australia, Nestor's company went public. Unlike Sam's company, which required endless social dinners and client negotiations, Nestor didn't need that. All he needed was strong technical skills and the ability to hire people who excelled in both IT and finance. Everything went smoothly. I originally thought Nestor would follow Sam's old path, hoping I wouldn't work so hard and letting me step back. But instead, without hesitation, he transferred a considerable portion of major shares to me. These are what you deserve, Victoria. I know what you care about. I know what you worry about. But don't worry. I am not Sam. Everything he did, I will never do. I can't do those things. It's not who I am. Nestor's gaze burned with intensity. Of course I wasn't stupid. After spending all this time together, I understood his feelings for me. But unlike Sam, who declared love passionately and loudly, Nestor never once said the words aloud. Instead, he hid everything in the actions he took, big or small. All right, I believe you. I reached out my hand to him. He smiled and gently held it. The warmth of his palm flowed into mine, growing hotter and hotter. In that fleeting moment, through the heat of his hand, I felt the surging depth of his love. Chapter 15. Later, Marco sent me a WeChat message, begging me to return to the company. Victoria, I'm begging you. Please come back. Lily is really terrible. She can't even remember clients' preferences. And that's not all. You had a USB drive in your workstation, right? Sam said it was really important. It had detailed profiles of over 100 clients. She threw it away along with all your things. After Sam found out, he exploded and scolded her, but later. I don't know what tricks that woman used, and they made up again. I really hope they get divorced. Lily has messed up so many deals, worth more than hundreds of millions. Seeing those 3 furious exclamation marks, I couldn't help but laugh. Lily really isn't competent. Later, after everyone's complaints and all the deals she ruined, Sam transferred her to an easy, idle position. But Sam didn't come to work today. Lily keeps calling him but can't reach him, and now she's throwing a tantrum in the office. Sigh. Victoria, if only you were back. We all miss you. I treated it as a joke and replied with a few polite words. Go back? Impossible. I will never go back to City A in this lifetime. Besides, my parents passed away early. Other than my best friend Amelia, I have no ties in China. Outside the window, fallen leaves drifted like feathers. The breeze brushing my face felt peaceful and pleasant. Today was Nestor's birthday. I promised him I wouldn't work today and would accompany him to the Sydney Opera House for a performance. It should have been a beautiful day, if Sam hadn't appeared. Chapter 16. Victoria, I missed you so much. I told you I would come to Australia to find you. I didn't know how Sam managed to find my home address again. The moment I stepped out the door, I saw him. I frowned, intending to walk the other way, but he blocked me. Victoria, please forgive me, okay? We can go back to how we were, right? Sam looked much older, though it had been less than a year since we broke up. He already had several new strands of white hair at his temples. Even his complexion had worsened, his entire being radiated exhaustion. No, I don't have time today. Move, Victoria. Listen to me. She has a boyfriend. Please show some respect. I hadn't even noticed when Nestor arrived. He approached swiftly, expression icy cold, pulling Sam away from me. One single word, classmate, left Sam completely stunned. Wasn't this his former university mentor? You two, how are you two together? Sam frowned instinctively, his reddened eyes full of rage. You could marry Lily, but I can't be with him? Victoria, you're angry at me, right? You want me to suffer. That's why you're with him, right? Victoria, come back with me. I can divorce Lily right away. Sam still refused to give up. He stepped forward, trying to grab my hand, but Nestor slapped his hand away instantly. Don't touch her. Sam, go back. I'm not in the mood, and I don't have time to argue with you. Don't come to me again. When it's over. It's over. Yes. Classmate. Go back. Another classmate was like a heavy blow to Sam's chest. He probably never imagined, even in his worst nightmares, that I would end up with his former university mentor. Sam looked utterly shocked, clinging to Nestor's sleeve as if refusing to face reality. Please, please give her back to me. I'm begging you. Nestor shot him a cold glance, then forcefully shook his hand free, and took mine as we walked away. When it's over, it's truly over. Dragging it out serves no purpose. Chapter 17. Later. It was Marco who told me about the bankruptcy of Sam's company. Ever since that day he returned home, Sam had been like someone possessed, no heart for work, leaving everything to the people below him. Lily, upset that Sam ignored her completely, behaved worse and worse in the company, causing chaos day after day. Several capable employees left out of frustration. In the end, even Marco couldn't stand it and quit. Clients' information was a complete mess under her organization, much of it wrong, and with Sam not managing anything at all. All the long-term clients ended up walking away. After the company went bankrupt, Sam's negativity worsened, eventually developing into depression. Lily started yelling about wanting a divorce, but Sam's parents refused to let her even see him, claiming Sam couldn't handle the emotional shock. So the divorce has been dragged on until now, never resolved. Life is unpredictable and never moves according to personal will, but at the very least, after leaving him, I rebuilt myself and met the person who was truly worth it.